guys, welcome back to my channel. The best time of year is back, and of course I mean lacrosse season. We are just a few weeks away from the start of our 2020 college lacrosse season. Couldn't be more excited. This is absolutely my favorite time of the year, especially early on. Teams are still finding their identities, figuring themselves out, the style of play. You see new leaders emerge, old leaders remain steady, and it's gonna just be a great year of college lacrosse. We're gonna dive right in on this episode for an NCAA preview, my personal top 5, the dark horse of the year, and who I ultimately think is going to win the Natty Championship. I'm gonna ask that you guys do the same, comment below with your top 5, your dark horse, and your predicted Natty Champ. If you guess all 3 right, maybe in May, there'll be a giveaway. So let's dive on in. This is your 2020 NCAA Women's Lacrosse preview. All right, so to start, for my personal top 5, I've seen a lot of the different rankings posted by Inside Lacrosse, US Lacrosse Magazine. Very, very similar to their top 5, with sort of your typical powerhouses remaining in that top 5, top 10, top 15 category. Different magazines have gone all the way to the top 20. I figured we'd talk about the 5. My number 1 right now going into the season is UNC. They have the two-headed monster of Jamie Ortega and Katie Hogue. They find each other. They play really well off of each other. They're just total studs, and they return a ton of returners from last year's Final Four team. That was, if you remember and recall, that was one of the best college lacrosse games of the era of women's lacrosse. It was a tight game between BC, UNC. BC ultimately winning in overtime, but as Coach Jenny Levy said, what a great day for college lacrosse. That a majority of that team returns. You lose leaders like Gianna Bell, Olivia Ferrucci, but a lot of their core remains the same. I think they're going to be hungry and ready to fight for another national championship. So I put them as number 1. Number 2, Cuse. I've gotten to know Emily Harris-Chuck, their center and bright shining star, throughout our time at US this year. She's not only a phenomenal kid and phenomenal person, but she's an even, an incredibly talented player. She's strong, she can take the draw, she's quick, nimble, a force to be reckoned with, and has a lot of players around her that are just as good. Gary, as you guys all know, is a mastermind. He puts his offensive and defensive players in the best positions to succeed and is hungry for that first national championship. I think that ACC battle between UNC and Cuse is going to be one to remember this year, and it's going to be a dogfight to see who wins not only ACCs but the national championship as well, and who tops those rankings. I think Cuse is really a contender early on and has the team to finally pull out a national championship this year. Third on my list, Northwestern. They are finally back kind of on the Final Four national championship talking grounds. They lost their way a little bit throughout the 2010 decade, but in the later years have really just become the Northwestern of old in terms of their style of play. They're fast, they're strong, they're quick. They're incredibly determined, incredibly well coached, fierce competitors who have a lot of young talent. Izzy Skane is one of the best players I've ever seen. She just played for U19, represented US in the gold medal season that they had, and is on tap to have a very, very strong sophomore year. It's crazy to think she's only a sophomore, but I think she's gonna do incredible things for this year. I think Northwestern is gonna be a really tough competitor in the Big Ten, and then for that national spotlight as well. All right, moving on. Number 4, my Terps, Maryland. They graduated a ton. Leaders like Jen Giles, Julia Bragg, Caroline Steele. It's hard to replace so many, but that's kind of what happens every year. Maryland loses top players year in, year out, and always rebuilds. I think with the injury to Lizzie Colson and the amount of starters that they lost, it could be a tough February for the Terps as they try to figure themselves out and find their new identity. But with the young freshmen that they have coming in who are so talented, so hungry, so eager to make an impact, and surrounding them with, you know, Callie Hartshorn, Brindy Griffin, who had an incredible NCAA tournament last year, Meg Doherty, really kind of solidifying and anchoring that defense. They do have the ability to make another national championship run. If there's one thing I've learned from my coaches is never count Maryland out. They always figure out a way and are always hungry to get back to the Final Four. So I have them at 4. That's probably lower than they've been in recent years, but I think anything is possible with this team and with that staff. Rounding out the top 5, talk about another team that lost a lot. BC lost the likes of Sam Apuzzo, Dempsey Arsenal, Kenzie Kent. And I think that's going to be a tough trio to replace, but they do have Kara Urbank, Duke transfer Charlotte North. They have pieces that if they can come together and play well as a team, can make it really tough for UNC and Cuse in the ACC, and then will be a really tough team come May in the NCAA tournament. Acacia Walker has tasted that national championship game for the past 3 years. I don't think she's going to go any lighter this season. I think she wants one really bad. She wants one for her team, as do all coaches. And I think she's a really smart coach alongside of Kayla Trainer, who will help BC figure out a way, no matter what losses they had from their graduation. So that's my top 5. UNC, Cuse, Northwestern, Maryland, BC. Really going to be an interesting year in college lacrosse. Anything can change, and I can guarantee that the top 5 I start with probably will not be the top 5 that ends the season, which is great because there's so much parity coming now with these teams, and it's just going to be an awesome thing to see. Dark horse. If there's one team that I think should be in the national championship talk, should make a Final Four with the talent that they have, it's Notre Dame. They have an incredible returning group of seniors, juniors, sophomores coming back from a really great season for them last year. Leaders like Andy Aldave, Savannah Buchanan, Madison Lau. You have so many people who return a ton of experience, and then you have that #1 recruiting class coming in, Casey Choma, and really have the ability to make an immediate impact. If they can't win with this team, I would be shocked. So they're kind of my dark horse for the year. We'll see how they go. They're in a tough ACC. It's going to be a tough year, but I think they have the talent to get there. So it'll be interesting to see what Notre Dame ends up doing. And finally, my national championship prediction. While I will always want it to be the Terps, and I want them to win every single year, it's probably never going to be the Terps for now until eternity. There will be different national champions. And I think this is one of those years. I'm predicting that Cuse ends up winning their first national championship this year. If this is the team, this is the leadership that they need, and I think it's their time. So my prediction is Syracuse is your national champion. This will be like end of January when I say it. We'll see what happens at the end of May. It's a long season. That's one of the great things about college lacrosse. Anything can happen, and it's a long, long season with a whole roller coaster ride. But I am pumped for the ride and can't wait to watch. Tune in next week where we go over the top 3 attackers to watch and what you can learn from the seat of your couch. Bye, guys.